Nice. What is going on, Tenant Crew? My name is Billy the Squid, and we are just 12 hours away from one of my most anticipated titles to start 2023, Forspoken. The Square Enix title that, from day one of the demo moving forward, has had extremely mixed reception in the gaming sphere. I did a deeper dive into why people hated the Forspoken demo, and I tended to chalk it up more to Square Enix dropping the ball and how they released the demo, what the demo actually was that they released, and other aspects like not giving enough information on how the game's actually going to be played and controlled for people to be able to get into the game. I was then, and I still am, of the mind that this game's gameplay is just unintuitive enough that I don't think people are going to be willing to put the effort forward to actually learn the combat, whether they might enjoy it once they get the hang of it or not. I think from a gameplay perspective, it is a title that is easy to pick up, fail at, and then just decide that the game is bad based on that. And based on that alone, I knew this wasn't going to be the start of the year blockbuster that a lot of the people that were super hyped for this game thought it was going to be. And I think based off the gameplay demo itself, these mixed reviews were going to happen regardless. But then Square Enix doubled down and some really questionable stuff came out as we were getting closer and closer to this game's release. First off, they're giving this game the good old de novo injection. De novo being a DRM software or digital rights management software, which is basically an anti-piracy measure put into the game. Not only does this have the potential to reduce the modability of this game and making the game's lifespan shorter as a result, but it also has a lot of impact on PC, especially CPU usage throughout the game, forcing the game to have much higher system requirements as a result. And speaking of system requirements, boy oh boy, are the PC system requirements for this game a massive red flag. I don't know if it is an optimization issue or if they just really do have so much pushing this game on a fidelity envelope, but some of these system requirements, especially for the mid and ultra settings, are going to require a whole new rig for some people and making it completely unplayable to people that are working on a middle class based system. There are still plenty of people that I know that are rocking 1070s and 1080s that don't have access to a PS5 because up until recently there is still that PS5 shortage, that are just not going to be able to play this game day one. Not that avoiding a game day one is necessarily a bad thing. With the current track record of AAA productions, day one games tend to come with some hefty bug fixes in the next few weeks, and I'm sure that Forspoken will be one in the same. And the last major red flag I want to bring up came closer to review season, and it came in the fact that a lot of reviewers did not get early access review codes to this game. For whatever reason, Square Enix decided that they were going to limit the amount of people that got access to review codes, and also had a pretty hefty review embargo on this game up until the day before it came out. Which is why if you go to Metacritic right now, you only see about 50 to 60 reviews total, when typically games that have come out have 100 plus reviews at the time that they launch. With all of these red flags coming to light and Square Enix clearly not being confident in the product that they were going to be shipping, it is completely understandable if these kinds of things prevented a lot of people from wanting to get this game or changed their mind from wanting it to not wanting it. Square Enix has majorly dropped the ball in the marketing of this game, and with other aspects coming to light, such as screenshots and videos showing a clear graphical downgrade from what was advertised initially to what we are going to be getting, along with some of the dialogue being cherry-picked from sections of the game, which does show that standard Square Enix cringe that we've been seeing since Final Fantasy VI back on text boxes, to the fact that in some instances, due to a deep dive of the demo, performance mode actually cuts the graphical fidelity of the game down to 720p in some sections just to maintain 60 FPS. All of these are legitimate reasons that somebody could lose interest in the game or just not have interest at all. Just like it's perfectly acceptable that some people like myself got enough hands-on time with the demo and enjoyed what they played in the demo that even with all of these red flags, we're still willing to give the final product a chance. Speaking for myself, gameplay is what matters most to me, and I enjoyed myself in the demo enough that I'm still enticed to buy this game as it comes out. It's not every day that you get a fresh IP that's trying to do something a little bit different than the cookie-cutter games that are coming out in the AAA genre, and I'm willing to take a gamble on this title in particular, especially based on seeing how mixed the reviews are one way or the other. And if this was any other game, we could have a conversation about why you dislike the game, why I like the game, and then agree to each their own and move on. But for some reason, Forspoken has become the hill that people are willing to die on as far as AAA games go. It's just really odd that no game in recent memory has gotten the amount of animosity from the communities as Forspoken has on both fronts. Stands of a game they haven't even played are already ripping people down that show any kind of an inkling of a negative emotion towards Forspoken, whereas people that dislike the game are going in and completely berating people for having a somewhat positive opinion on this title. It's really mind-boggling. Since when did liking or disliking a game become a defining character trait that you can be personally attacked for? And if this is the way AAA gaming is going to be in 2023, it is going to be a long and ugly road. From what I've been able to gather, it seems like the console fanboys are the primary ones that are stoking this fire, with Xbox fanboys tearing it down and PlayStation fanboys bringing it up because they feel like they have an obligation to, as if these companies actually care. Just like in the dividing lines with politics, it seems like the Xbox and Sony divide is just getting deeper and deeper with time. I think Halo Infinite and Rise Fall of Rome have been brought up more talking about Forspoken than they did during their own independent launches. It's just weird, man. Not everyone is going to enjoy every game, and I don't think every game is destined for blockbuster success. I've always taken review scores with a grain of salt and treated them as such. If a game has a high review score, that just means it is going to have more mass appeal than titles that are rated a little bit lower than it. Games that sit in what most people would consider mid these days, I feel are more niche than anything. Yes, they're not going to have as widespread of an appeal, and based on the reviewer, they might not fall into that niche that the game is targeted to. And that should be seen as perfectly fine. I don't want every single game to be put out with the broadest audience imaginable in mind. That's how you get an industry riddled with remakes and remasters and reboots instead of actual new fresh IPs. And yes, I do feel like there's some validity in review scores and making it so that people can make a more informed decision with their money and can really out some real stinkers from the game industry. But do I think niche games like Sonic Frontiers, The Devil in Me, Callisto Protocol, or now Forspoken are necessarily bad games just because they don't have widespread appeal? No. And that's where your individual opinion matters. If it looks like something that you're going to be able to get behind and have some fun with, then I say go for it, because at the end of the day, that's all gaming is about. It's about having fun. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. How do you feel about the pre-release of Forspoken? Are you still planning on picking it up? Have the red flags of the game deterred you from picking it up? Let me know down below. But if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We will be doing more Forspoken content in the future. And until next time, Tenna Crew, much love. Bye-bye.